What's going on, y'all? It's Greg. Greg said it. Man, I just had to jump on here. Final regular season game of the year. Colorado did their thing. The first shutout in almost a decade. Definitely the first shutout of the prime era. We had a couple chances maybe to do it, but we kind of let off. But, man, they pulled it off. And not only did they pull it off, they pulled it off on a fellow FBS team. They didn't go put it off on no FCS team or even a group of 4, a group of 5, whatever you want to call it. They did their thing. Everybody, we give them a hard time when they play with their food and get bored, what I say. And they did it a little bit in the second quarter. And boy, I know they got some lashing in halftime. And boy, you know, we talked about them. Where we say, boy, what kind of crap is this? But it is what it is. But they recovered. The good thing is they recover on both sides of the ball. They made some key plays. And everybody ate a little bit today. I wish I'd have saw Will Shepherd get in the end zone, but everybody did their thing. Travis got over his 100 yards. Wester probably got over or close to it. And just a pretty decent game on both sides of the ball. It wasn't nothing extravagant as far as the run game or anything like that. But they did what they're supposed to do with that team. They didn't supposed to play around with that team. That team is wounded. I don't think they won a game all year as far as a conference game. This is not the game to start. I was surprised that they didn't run the ball more, especially after they seen Colorado struggle with running last week, even though they don't mean much because that hasn't been what they did all year. But they really tried to throw the ball, which is interesting to me. That's not their game. I guess they were smart enough, so that was their best shot because they probably should just try to run it because their passing game just horrible, man. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't throw 2-3 more interceptions. But Colorado defense was very pesky to them. You know, they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They were breaking up passes. The running game wasn't getting anywhere. So it was a tough game for Oklahoma State. And like I said, Colorado looked a lot like how they used to look when they played the other teams. They would get beat to sleep at 50-something zip. And it's finally good to be on the other side of it. So congratulations to that. Now we had a situation now where we could have been celebrating, really getting ready to go to Big 12. But in true Colorado fashion, it's just not Colorado unless you just add a little drama, a little flair to it. So here it is, Colorado's in a point now where they got to wait and see tomorrow, at least make tomorrow exciting. You know, they don't want to be relaxed. You know, like playing from behind, there's a little more thrill and a little fire. Yeah, I said they don't like playing from the front as much. But I guess it would have been like being too far in the front if they had just kind of took their own path to the Big 12 championship. So now we got to see some interesting combinations of things where I think Texas Tech got to lose to West Virginia and BYU got to lose to Houston, or one of the 2 or 3 combinations where Arizona got to beat Arizona State, BYU got to lose to Houston, Kansas State got to beat Iowa State. 2 of those 3. So it's an interesting, weird thing. I mean, they already throwing Arizona State up as the conference, not only conference, going to the championship, but being a team to represent the conference. It was BYU for the longest. They never gave Colorado really that look, even when they was like, almost had a shoe-in before last week. But that's fine, because Colorado seems to love to be the underdog. They don't love the respect and people really looking up to them and saying, oh, they that team. Maybe that's a lot, you know, when you get so much press and you got all the excitement and the celebrities and the hype and the viewership that they have, maybe it's just a little much. I don't know. I'm not on the team. But I do know some things that Colorado have to fit as far as playing from the front and just kind of executing and working on some things when it gets kind of boring and not as contentious. You know, they don't really give you a challenge. It seems like Colorado, I mean, they punted like 5-6 times in a row. Like, it was just like, whatever, we up 21 to zip. And they kind of picked it up after halftime. make some plays. But Colorado has some things, from Shador taking sacks. At least half of them sacks, he took them. At least half of them. He could have threw it away, but he was trying to stretch a play on top of stretch a play on top of stretch a play. And I'm telling you, he had a lot of time, but it's like he wanted more time, I guess. And then he just ended up getting sacked, and it makes the line look, like they're not blocking. But we know they are. They have a lot of time on the clock, as far as getting the ball off. So, again, it was a good win from the standpoint they didn't give up that goose egg. They maintained it, even with the backups. But they pushed it very close to the end. And it's like, when you see backups in there, it's like, hey, can't say why you're not playing, because this is your time to show I can be out here. And boy, they pushed that thing right up to the edge. But they got a chance to play. A lot of the seniors got a chance to play. They've been practicing all year. So that worked out. And if you cut on that game, you look at a scoreboard or, anything like that, that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you'd be like, good God Almighty, Colorado beat the mess out of them. 52-0. Woo, your imagination to go crazy. But you don't even realize they left at least a few touchdowns on the field. I don't know what that would have done to the game, but earlier. But, man, they left halftime with only like 21, right? And then I think by the third quarter, they popped out 14 real quick. Boom, it was 35. It was like, golly, it really could have been 35-0 at halftime. Colorado easily could have put up 70-plus points on them. That's overkill, but the game wasn't as dominant as the score looked, but it was at the same time. It's weird. They still haven't played to their full strength. And I don't know if they would get a chance to. These folks ain't playing with them. Now, Tulane was trying to throw Tulane ahead of them with Boise State, and I'm like, y'all breaking all the rules now. Y'all said it was going to be 4 of the Power 4 and 1 representative from the Group of 5. That's what I remember. Then they start saying the top 5 conference leaders. And they was trying to do that to throw Colorado out, and then Tulane messed around and got whooped by Memphis. But I was starting to see that. I was like, well, darn, they going to try to slide. Now they going to slide 2 Group of 5 teams in. Like, y'all really just doing stuff. Y'all going to put 2 of them in. You supposed to have 1 conference representative from the Group of 5. Not the top 5 overall. You going to put somebody in the MAC in too? Like, this is the doggone playoff. You surely ain't finna try to slide them in with the top teams in the country. Like, you just really trying to do too much. You really playing when you putting Boise State in there, especially getting them second round bye. You basically giving the doggone whoever they play during their second round bye, because they really are a one-dimensional team, really. So whoever make it to that second round, they bought, unless they just do some idiotic stuff, they pretty much writing them a ticket to the semifinals. And that's why it's like, ooh, Colorado, if they did get in there, they have to beat Ohio State. Ohio State rough. Whoever's going to play Ohio State, they played a solid game. You can't be out there arm tackling and missing tackles and stuff like that. Colorado got the firepower to be able to compete with pretty much anybody, but at the same time, not when they're not playing their best football at offense at this point. And that's kind of sad to say, because the team has been growing, defense been good. You would hope that the offense is playing on all 6 cylinders, but it's almost like they kind of took a little dip, and it just been kind of like inconsistent, lethargic. People calling, using these different names, just watching the game. The analysts are using it. They get very just, like Coach Prime said, who told them to pump the brakes? So basically, who told them to stop? They just went up and they just stopped on their own. They just got content with punting the ball. Some games they just get content with field goals. And it's like, that's not it. You're not going to be able to do that against teams that got just as much talent or more talent than you. You're really not giving yourself a chance to win. Nevertheless, they could very well, depending on some weird stuff happening, which is possible, they could very well be their butts right back in the doggone Big 12. Doggone Colorado. They just never want to do it the easy way. The drama and the storyline behind it, if people just going to eat it up, that would be interesting if they did get back in there. We just got to wait and see. It's Friday football. So now we got Friday and Saturday to watch. We got a few games on Saturday to kind of pay attention to. We had 3. Now we really got four games that we got to really see what go down. And, man, I believe Kansas State can beat Iowa State. I believe they should beat Iowa State. At this point, Iowa State is not what they used to be. And I do believe, you know, Arizona State, that's one of them, like, local rival games that can go either way. Arizona has the players. They're going to have to stop Scatterboo. And, you know, Houston, they played a weird game against Arizona, but Houston, they got a little Kansas in them. They defense played a little decent when I think they beat Iowa State. So Houston ain't necessarily to look over. You know, BYU ain't playing their best ball right now necessarily either. If you got a stout defense against BYU, and they got their running quarterback too, so it's going to be interesting. Let's keep an eye on it. I just had to come on and acknowledge this victory. I'm still going to do my live show, so make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. We're going to do a live show, I believe, tomorrow instead of Sunday. Usually when we start this early. So I'm going to go ahead and get my live show knocked out the way. And then also, you know, I'm going to do my inspiration motivation. So if you've been watching, what are we waiting on? Get your subscription. I think we're right at 3,000. Just been hovering. Go ahead and hit that. You hear? Go ahead and hit that subscription and like this video, comment, all that good stuff. And we're at the end. But as always, I'll be talking to y'all soon.